Good morning. Welcome to the July 25th meeting of the Sacramento Air Quality Management District Board of Directors. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning. Director Rohrbaugh?
Yes.
Director Rohrbaugh is actually sitting in for Director Aquino.
Thank you.
Director Daniels?
Here.
Director Desmond?
Here.
Director Frost? Director Guerra? Director Hume? Chair Kennedy?
Here.
Director Maple?
Here.
Director Papineau?
Here.
Director Robles? Director Cerna?
Here.
Director Terry? Director Thau? Director Vang?
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members of the public are encouraged to observe the meeting in real time at metro14live.saccounty.gov, participate in person via Zoom video or teleconference line, and by submitting written comments to boardclerk@airquality.org. Comments will be delivered to the Board of Directors. Public comments regarding matters under the jurisdiction of the Board of Directors will be acknowledged by the chairperson, distributed to the Board of Directors, and included in the record. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast and AT&T U-verse cable systems. This meeting is being closed captioned and will be live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will be repeated on Saturday, July 27th, 2024 at 2 p.m. on Channel 14.
Thank you very much. We do have one board member virtually appearing at the meeting, so we will be taking roll call votes today, and our APCO is joining us also virtually. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Ayala. Next item, please.
Next item on the agenda is the consent calendar, items 1 through 5.
Are there any board members that have any questions on consent? Hearing and seeing none, is there any public comment? Okay, we've seen no public comment. Was that Director Daniels or? Okay. Director Robles seconds. Roll call vote, please.
Director Rohrbaugh?
Yes.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Desmond?
Aye.
Director Frost? Director Guerra? Director Hume? Chair Kennedy?
Aye.
Director Maple?
Aye.
Director Papineau?
Aye.
Director Robles? Director Cerna?
Aye.
Director Terry? Director Thau? Director Vang?
Yes.
The consent calendar passes.
Thank you. Item 6, please.
Item number 6 on the agenda, public hearing, amendments to Rule 442, architectural coatings, and I have Ananya Srinivas in chambers to give a presentation.
Hello everyone, my name is Ananya Srinivas. I am an air quality engineer working at the district. Today I'll be talking about the amendments to Rule 442. This deals with architectural coatings. Next slide, please. So just a little bit of background of why we're amending this rule. Sacramento is in the Sacramento Federal Non-Attainment Area, or SFNA, and this region is classified as severe non-attainment for the 2008 and 2015 Ozone National Ambient Air Quality Standards. Because of this, the district is required to submit State Implementation Plan, or SIPs, showing how we're going to achieve attainment. These SIPs are required to contain contingency measures, which are there in case that attainment goals are not met as per the Clean Air Act. These measures are essentially backup measures that are put into place and are triggered if the EPA finds that the region has failed to achieve attainment or meet any progress milestones. The graphic here is the SFNA, like I mentioned. It's important to note that the other districts within the region have adopted contingency measures within their architectural coatings rules. Next slide, please. So like I said, the district is in non-attainment for ozone. Ozone is formed from a variety of sources which produce nitrogen oxides, or NOx, and volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. When these react with sunlight, they form ground-level ozone. Next slide, please. So this is a graph of the 6 largest VOC emission sources within Sacramento. The top 3, which are consumer products, off-road, and on-road mobile sources, are regulated at the state or federal level. Of the next 3, we regulate petroleum marketing and architectural coatings. Next slide, please. So what are architectural coatings? They're basically coatings that are applied to stationary structures, so coatings such as paints, primers, or stains, and others. This does not apply to coatings that are applied to mobile equipment or for shop applications. Next slide, please. So how is this rule being changed? It's important to note that these changes will only be into effect if the contingency is triggered. We will make this rule consistent with the most recent state guidelines, namely adopting the following measures. So basically lowering VOC limits for certain coating categories, introducing new categories, and finally providing a 1-year sell-through period to sell products that were manufactured prior to a contingency trigger, provided that that contingency is in fact triggered. Next slide, please. So this is a graphic of where the most recent state guidelines have been adopted. The ones that have adopted it are highlighted in green here. You can see that the rest of the SFNA has adopted these measures. Next slide, please. And this rule, Rule 442, will affect mainly manufacturers, marketers, distributors, and users of coatings. Next slide, please. This rule will achieve emission reductions of about 7.8%. Compliant products are available already, and so no reformulation is needed. CARB also estimated a retail cost increase of no more than 11%. However, we consider this to be conservatively high of an estimate. This estimate was done 5 years ago prior to any reformulation, and since then, compliant products have already been made available. The cost effectiveness of this rule is estimated to be about $2 per pound of VOC reduced. This means that for every $2 invested, we'll get 1 pound of VOC reductions. Comparing this to previously adopted district measures, previous measures have cost effectiveness ranging between about $1 and $20 per pound of VOC reduced. So this rule is definitely on the lower end of that range. Next slide, please. For outreach for today's workshop, and for today's hearing, as well as the public workshop in April, we notified the public and the industry through the Sacramento Bee, the district website, and by email. Next slide, please. So now I'll just talk a little bit about the comments that were made prior to this hearing. The first couple comments come from EPA Region 9. Their first comment suggested restricting the small container exemptions within the rule. However, we saw a minimal benefit to restricting these, as these small container exemptions are useful for certain niche processes as well as touch-ups. Also, surrounding districts have not restricted these exemptions, so we also did not recommend these restrictions. Their next comment was about concern about when and how records will be made available. We did not propose a change from this, as recent court cases are currently in session and EPA is still deciding, so we are awaiting additional guidance from EPA. Next slide, please. The other group that commented was the American Coatings Association, or ACA. They suggested an extension of the sell-through period that I mentioned from 1 year to 3 years. However, due to needing to achieve reductions a year after a contingency trigger, we did not recommend making this extension. Next slide, please. So our final recommendations are to conduct a public hearing, determine that the amendments to Rule 442 are exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, approve the resolution amending Rule 442, and direct the staff to forward amended Rule 442 to CARB for submittal to the US EPA. Thank you very much for listening. I'll take any questions now.
Director Daniels.
Thank you very much. I believe the graph you showed that the architectural coatings was the least impacting of the pollution, or whatever you want to call it, indicators that you showed. Is that correct?
Yes, it was amongst the six, those are the six largest sources, so it was the sixth largest.
And it was, looked like a pretty minimal amount of pollution from those architectural coatings overall. Because I don't know if we can put that graph back up, but it would be helpful. So that showed the minimum of the ones that you showed, and then you indicated that doing this would result in a 7% reduction of that kind of pollution. And that 7%, I guess, is based on not obviously overall, but just that category itself. It'll reduce the architectural coatings pollution by 7%.
Yes, that's correct.
And then in doing so, it's going to increase the cost of the materials by up to, according to CARB at least, somewhere equal to or less than 11%.
Yes, but it's important to note that that estimate was done about 5 years ago, and since then, compliant products are available already.
Okay. So when we look at housing and we try to create affordable housing, what we see is that the thing that impacts affordable housing the most is government regulation to the tune of now, if you build a single-family residence in the Sacramento region, that's over $100,000 of just government fees and taxes. So here we are now going to decide to add even more cost to build more housing. And can you tell me, if you pull this one out of your hat, I'll be really impressed, the overall cost of painting a new home and what kind of cost that incurs to new housing, because then that will increase that cost up to, according to at least CARB, somewhere equal to or less than 11%.
Yeah, that's a good question. I defer that to Dr. Ayala if you have any comments.
Ooh, I like that. I like that you did that.
That was smooth.
Thank you.
That was smooth, very smooth.
Thank you, Director Daniels. I also don't have the answer. I'm not going to be able to tell you how much it's going to cost to paint a house. What I want to tell you is we operate in the world of cost effectiveness. And as was noted, this is one of the lowest cost measures that we can adopt. The reason we're going after architectural coatings is because it falls under our authority. We do not have authority to regulate the other sources. That's why it's important for us to continue to work with the state and the federal government to help us get there. And the last thing I'll say before I give it back to you is we have no choice. We have to do this. If we don't adopt this contingency measure, EPA is going to determine that our plan is not approvable. And if our plan is not approvable, what that means is the federal government will come in and develop a plan for us. I just want you to keep that in mind as you consider your vote.
And I appreciate that. And I believe what you're saying is that it isn't that the EPA or whoever will spank us for not changing our architectural coatings. It's that they'll spank us if we don't reduce our pollution overall, and that this is just one area. I think this is the wrong area. I think, again, we have to keep in mind that we're trying to build housing that people can afford, and every little thing that we throw into there makes it less affordable. So there's no way I can support this, but we'll see. I'm sure the board will support it, but we'll just see where it goes. Thank you.
Director Desmond.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Ayala, and thank you for the presentation. I mean, I certainly understand it. We need to look for ways we can reduce in areas that are within our control, certainly. Can you flesh out a little more about some of the discussions with the ACA? I didn't know they had a professional association. Sounds like they have. Can you flesh that out? Because I'm interested in what they say is the impact's going to be on their industry. And are there any financial assistance as they make this conversion?
Yeah, so their comment was basically requesting the extension of that sell-through period from 1 year to 3 years because of their products. The rest of your question, I'll also defer it to Dr. Ayala, please.
Actually, thank you. I'm going to ask Mark because I think you guys have been in the conversations with the industry. The request for more time for sell-through is pretty standard. We hear that from industry a lot in many different areas, right? They want more time to sell the inventory that is on the shelves. I'm going to have Mark describe that to you, but the one thing I want to remind the board is we're last in line to do this. And industry is going in this direction because most of the state has already adopted this measure. So industry is going in this direction already. Mark, can you please expand?
And Mark, you can feel free to just kick it over to Rafe.
Well, in that case, why not? No, I'm happy to go ahead and just expand upon that a tiny bit. The main comment that as has already been answered by Ananya here, is that their main concern was just the sell-through provision. They really just wanted more time as they moved their product from the manufacturing side through the retailers. That was their main focus. They did not actually share any concerns on manufacturing or meeting the limits. As the map showed across California, places like South Coast actually have already adopted this many years ago. And obviously being a much larger population-based structures, et cetera, most of the manufacturers actually already have these products available. And so there was not a concern on formulation or those type of aspects. They were just trying to get, as understandably so, just as much time as possible to move any remaining what could become non-compliant products.
No, and I totally understand that, and I understand the reason why we have trepidation with giving them more time. But I was just curious if there's any financial help for them if I'm moving my inventory from these higher emitting products to That's what I was asking about. Is there anything available to them as they convert their inventory into the new products?
There would not be, at least from ourselves. But as I said, for most of the part, I think it's that they can also, a lot of times these products are sold not just throughout California, but other locations as well, depending upon limits and such not. So that would be just another avenue for them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there any member of the public that would like to address the board at this time on this item? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move the item.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Director Rohrbaugh,
No.
Director Daniels,
No.
Director Desmond, Director Frost, Director Guerra, Director Hume, Chair Kennedy,
Aye.
Director Maple,
Aye.
Director Papineau, Director Robles, Director Cerna,
Aye.
Director Terry, Director Thau,
Aye.
Director Vang, this item passes.
Thank you. Item 7, please. Great job, Ananya.
Thank you very much.
The next item on the agenda, item number 7, Land Use and Climate Program Updates, Communities, Climate, and Tools. And I have Roberto Ramirez in chambers to give a presentation.
All right. Good morning, Chair Kennedy, members of the board. My name is Roberto Ramirez, and I'm here as an air quality planner as part of the CEQA land use section. And I'm here today to provide a few updates on some of our land use and climate programs. Next slide, please. So the first update involves the Climate Pollution Reduction Grants, or CPRG. As part of CPRG, the Capital Region Climate Priorities Plan, or the PCAP, was submitted previously as part of a collaboration between multiple partners across the 7-county region. These partners included the SACOG region, counties, cities, and tribal communities, as well as Nevada County. The plan included 24 GHG reduction measures within 3 categories with a focus on benefiting disadvantaged communities and promoting a greener economy with more jobs in the clean energy sector. Putting this plan together involved a great deal of effort from the CPRG Steering Committee, and a special thanks goes out to our Air District colleagues Rafe Porter, Paul Philly, and Brianna Moland, as well as everyone else involved in the development of this plan. The next phase of CPRG involved applying for the Phase 2 implementation grant, which requested almost $93 million for equitable infill development with affordable housing, sustainable and accessible zero-emission transportation, and carbon sequestration through agriculture. Sacramento's application titled Going Beyond Green, Cultivating Community, Connections, and Crops included 5 of our GHG reduction measures developed under the PCAP. However, we received some unfortunate news regarding our application. The Sacramento region did not receive a Phase 2 implementation grant. There was approximately $4.3 billion available as part of the grant, and $33 billion was requested. The only California applicant to receive a grant was the South Coast Air Quality Management District in Southern California. We want to thank everyone that is a part of the CPRG Steering Committee for going above and beyond throughout this process. Thanks to this effort, we were able to demonstrate the need for this type of funding in our region, so we are continuing to work with our local partners to be ready the next time other funding opportunities present themselves. Although we did not receive the implementation grant, we are grateful for all the regional collaboration conducted up until this point as part of the PCAP process. This collaboration was valuable as it will help us develop the Capital Region Comprehensive Climate Action Plan, or CCAP. This plan is viewed as a comprehensive version of the PCAP and will serve as a roadmap for grants and our climate future. Since the PCAP process presented 24 GHG measures, the focus shifts from developing additional measures in the CCAP to looking at viable ways on how to implement the existing measures from the PCAP, as well as develop the workforce for future jobs in the clean energy sector. The kickoff meeting for the comprehensive plan is today, July 25th, and we will have 1 year to submit the plan. Next slide, please. Thanks to the CPRG efforts conducted, we were able to implement updates to the CAPCOA handbook. These measures were locally identified by the CPRG steering committee during the PCAP process. They all fall within one of the 3 categories mentioned earlier, which are natural and working lands, transportation, and built environment. These measures have actually been used by local jurisdictions, but they have not been in the handbook. The measures are anticipated to be added later this year in October. One of the reasons we are incorporating these measures is because they are locally identified, which makes them easier for new projects to use. For example, if a new subdivision wanted to incorporate cool pavement, it will be able to claim emissions reductions associated with installing the cool pavement. The Transportation and Climate Change Division will be back in October to discuss other ways we work with new growth developments in the region. Next slide, please. A positive thing that arose from the CPRG effort is that it showed us just how much people care about clean air. We felt very inspired seeing this interest from people, as it reminded us that the regular CEQA work we do can make a difference. An example of this is the UC Davis Health Neighbor Clean Air Program. This program originated from a UC Davis Health long-range CEQA document that had unique mitigation. As part of an effort to reduce air pollution associated with construction of the new UC Davis California Tower, the UC Davis Health Neighbor Clean Air Program is providing high-efficiency particulate air, or HEPA, portable purifiers at no cost to residents that are in the designated zone. Implementation of this program is a collaboration between UC Davis and Breathe California Sacramento region, which is a local nonprofit organization. As part of the California Tower Environmental Impact Report and general campus construction, UC Davis is required to mitigate impacts to the area. This involves providing a portable home air cleaning device. This program also inspired Measure CE4, which calls for portable indoor air filtration for nearby residents during construction. This measure has been in the handbook since 2021 and is highlighted in the CAPCOA handbook as a model for other projects to follow. Next slide, please. Now that we have talked about our reductions emissions efforts as part of the CPRG collaboration and health work as part of the implementation of the UC Davis Neighbor Clean Air Program, I would like to switch gears and talk about some adaptation work that also involves health. As we know, summers in California can get pretty hot and extreme heat events are becoming more and more common. Excessive heat exposure can be dangerous and can have many health effects on people. It can also lead to local businesses and institutions to close due to the risk of extreme heat and the effect that heat can cause. Next slide, please. The Air District has spoken with different jurisdictions about cooling strategies and potential standards that can help address the urban heat island effect. Some of these cooling strategies involve cool pavements, cool roofs, and incorporating additional trees and vegetation for shade coverage. One real-world example of cool pavement in action occurred in the summer of 2020 when the city of Elk Grove treated a downtown parking lot with a new layer of cool pavement and monitored both surface and air temperatures over the following 2 summers. They found a significant decrease in surface temperatures and small increase in air temperatures directly over pavements during the summer months. Another example occurred in 2019 when the city of Roseville conducted a pilot project of using roller compacted concrete, or RCC, to repave 1 residential, 1 arterial, and 1 industrial road. This type of pavement saved the city $1 million in installation costs, and with a lifespan of 20 to 25 years, will reduce maintenance costs for the city. As of summer 2024, the treated roads have not experienced a single failure. In addition, RCC has a co-benefit of mitigating the UHI impacts. It is a cool pavement that has high albedo and does not absorb much heat. A tool to help better understand the way heat and thermal comfort affect people and assist in deciding what cool strategy works best is MARTI. As you can see on the slide, MARDI is a biometeorological device that measures different parameters to determine thermal comfort. It tells you at whatever time of day how much heat is getting emitted, whether it is direct or indirect, and you can test different configurations. This is important because every situation is different. For example, you could use MARDI to quantify what heat looks like in areas like parks and playgrounds, where high surface temperature can deter users from using the playground. Other times, ambient air temperature is important to look at, such as at a bus stop, where people are sitting and standing. The temperature could be high the further you get from the ground, which is closer to where people may feel it most. This instrument was developed by Arizona State University and was funded in partnership with the City of Elk Grove and very recently the City of Davis. This instrument will be shared amongst the 3 partners. The goal with this is to obtain data that will inform guidance to make new growth areas and existing communities more resilient to extreme heat. It will also help determine appropriate treatments for future projects and support future grant applications. Utilizing MARDI at existing projects such as the Elk Grove Cool Pavement Project and the Roseville Pilot RCC project will help identify how design changes can help address the UHI effect. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Director Cerna.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. On the first subject that you referenced, the unfortunate outcome of the grant application, is there any kind of formal postmortem for those applicants who were not successful, like an interview, so that you understand maybe how we understand to maybe be more competitive in the future?
That's a great question. I will defer that to Rafe.
Yeah, great question. We have requested a debrief with EPA on exactly what worked, what didn't, and what we could do moving forward to better that. We're not aware of another round of CPRG, but we think, as Roberto alluded to, with all the great work our region's put together, if we learn from this first round, what happened, we can do a lot better, whether it's CPRG or other funds.
If and when this meeting occurs, I would encourage you to also dig deep on questioning what strengths South Coast had that made them successful.
Good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? That's a receive and file. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 8, please.
Item number 8, Carl Moyer and Clean Cars for All program updates, and I have Salida Lazarga in chambers to give a presentation.
Good morning, Chair Kennedy, members of the board. My name is Salida Lizarraga, and I am one of the air quality engineers here at the Air District in Mobile Sources. I actually just completed my 3-year anniversary last week and my 2nd year in TCC. Today I'm going to be giving you a quick presentation on a couple updates on Carl Moyer programs and Clean Cars for All. Next slide, please. So first we're going to start with updates on our most recent solicitation. Next slide, please. So our solicitation just recently reopened on June 24th. This is our 2nd round. Our first round was only open to off-road, but now we're open to all categories. This includes off-road, on-road, and infrastructure projects. We've only been open for about a month, but we expect to be oversubscribed within the next couple of weeks. These grants are to support heavy-duty vehicles, equipment, and infrastructure. We have over $10 million to support grants in our Sac County businesses and agencies. We have been prioritizing projects in low-income communities. We do this by making sure all our projects that are AB 1390, AB 617, DAC, or LIC, so disadvantaged communities or low-income communities. We prioritize these before we look at our other projects. We also prioritize anything zero emissions, so these also receive higher funding. So for example, anything that is battery electric or hydrogen is eligible for up to 80% funding, while something like a diesel project is only eligible for up to 65% funding. Next slide, please. So in these pictures, you can see a different range of projects that we have funded actually here at the Air District. It ranges from tractors to heavy-duty on-road vehicles to zero-emission school buses to electric forklifts and infrastructure. So just a quick recap. Next slide, please. So our next updates are going to be on the Charlene McGee Memorial Lawn and Garden Program. Next slide, please. So this is the voucher program to trade in old equipment for new zero-emission equipment. We have seen a consistent flow of applications since our launch in April. We even have participants who have come back and reapplied. Participants are allotted a $50,000 limit, so a lot of time they have submitted applications, not reached the limit. They've tested out the electric equipment, and they really said they actually really enjoy it, so they've come back for that second round to cap out at that $50,000.
Excuse me, Director Cerna.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I'm beating you here to the punchline, but is this a program that is targeted to individuals or to contractors or both? Because it says Next Steps Residential Program.
Correct. So right now it is only companies, so businesses, so they do have to provide sort of business license or nonprofits or agencies. We'll kind of jump to that step right now. We are still working on building a residential program. We're working with our partners at SMUD and Sac County to develop that. We're hoping to launch that sometime next year, but we'll be sure to come to the board when we have more details on that.
Thank you. And then are the contractors that are eligible, are they eligible based on number of employees in part?
No. So as long as they have a business license and they're able to have any diesel-powered equipment, they're eligible.
Diesel?
Mm-hmm. Or gasoline,
Okay.
or, yeah. So we have a range, yeah.
I've never seen a diesel-powered chainsaw, but
Yeah.
maybe an
Very
exhaust
true,
on
very
it.
true.
Thank you.
So we started off the program with $1.2 million. We have already allocated most of it. We have about $450,000 remaining. This was in early July, so right now that number has reduced even more. Out of that money, most of it has actually gone towards zero emission ride-on mowers, $840,000 specifically, and that's because ride-on mowers are allotted $15,000 per carb, so that's a pretty good chunk of money. So we have allocated about 56 vouchers there, but the piece of equipment that we have most set out vouchers for have actually been leaf blowers. I think that's a big techie one that they're so quiet, so everyone's pretty excited about them. So as you mentioned, our next steps are the residential program, so we'll come in the future with more details. Next slide, please. So we collaborated with La Familia and United Latinos to put on an event for the community. It was specifically targeted toward the Latino community and Spanish speakers. Here you can see a couple pictures of our different merchants and vendors that we are partnered with who came out to the event. Not only did we their district bring Spanish-speaking staff, but our vendors also brought Spanish-speaking staff, so this just made everything a lot more smoother and it made it more approachable for the community. So all these equipment that you see in these pictures was eligible to be tested by the community, so they could pick up whatever they wanted and test out. This big lawn got a pretty good, got a good run for their money. Everyone was pleasantly surprised to see how fast the ride-on mowers could go. I think everyone kind of thought they were little go-karts, so that was really neat to see. So we heard really good feedback. Everyone was really excited after testing out the equipment, even more excited on the voucher amounts as they're pretty high, and if it didn't cover all the cost, it covered most of the cost of the equipment. We had such success in this event that we were actually featured on CBS, KCRA, and Univision. Next slide, please. So the last program I'll be giving you an update is actually going to be Clean Cars for All. Next slide, please. So this picture is at one of the outreach events at the Meadowview Farmers Market. This was our first time there, and we reached great success. There was a lot of interest in the program. This was also in a disadvantaged community, so most people that came to seek information were actually eligible for the program. We are looking forward to putting out more events like this in the coming months. We actually have a couple ride-and drives with our partner SMUD upcoming in August and September. You can find more information at our website. But these are great events because people can come out and actually drive these electric cars, so it's a really good exposure. Currently, we're working through a transition in the program as we are preparing to relaunch in August. This relaunch will only improve the program as we are now going countywide, and incentives are increasing up to $12,000, and we are also introducing a new option of e-bikes. So it's pretty exciting, and that is all I have for you today, and I'll open up the room for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Do we have any public comment on this? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done. That takes us to our Air Pollution Control Officer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologize. Now you guys have to hear from the old guy.
Alberto, before you start, because you opened that door, let me just commend you and your staff on promoting, young professionals and putting them at the forefront, and not just having, the higher level staff make presentations. I think that's building a strong bench, and I sincerely appreciate it.
Well, thank you for that, Chair Kennedy. I was actually going to tie in that very comment into one of the items I have, but I'll use the opportunity now. I think by now you understand that we're being pretty deliberate in bringing before you the newest members of our Air District family. These are very talented, young, new engineers and scientists. And the reason we want to do that very deliberate is because obviously this is the future of the agency. And you can see that we are in very good hands. And we just cannot be more pleased than having the opportunity to mentor and to work with these young people that are really gonna take the torch and follow through with some of the work that we're doing. And I need to thank the board, obviously, for you supporting the ability to bring these resources. And about a third of our agency at this point is newer folks, is folks like the ones you saw today that have a few years at most in the agency. So I am very hopeful and very optimistic in terms of the future of the agency. So thank you for that. Next slide, please. I have just a few informational items to share with you. I'll use the floor, since I have the floor, I'll use the opportunity to answer the question for Director Serna. Obviously, we're very disappointed that we didn't get the CPRG award. We were actually quite optimistic, and right now we're still licking our wounds. The strength that South Coast has, if I'm not too facetious about it, is the fact that they have some of the worst ozone pollution in the nation. So as much as I would have liked to have seen some support for our program, they got $500 million from EPA to clean up the port and some of the other large sources that create the worst pollution in the country. So we are very happy for them, and their benefit is eventually going to trickle up and benefit us as well in terms of being able to deploy new technology. And speaking of pollution, the only thing I wanted to emphasize for the board is to remind you that the summer is great. We're all thinking vacation, but for us in the air quality business, it also means pollution. What you have here is a time history from May to July 11, and then across you have the different, on the map, different monitoring stations where we monitor regional air pollution. And every red box, speaking of attainment and non-attainment, every red box means a day in the region where we violated the existing ozone standards. So for that day, the region was in non-attainment. And you can see that as we got hotter, more red boxes show up. So I just want to make that point because it's really critically important. And that is why EPA is pushing us to adopt rules just in case we don't make progress, because this is what can happen. Next slide, please. But turning to better news, I want to share with the board something that I believe is very significant, because those of you that are on the SAC-SUR board know this very well. The Biogen project at the EcoWater facility is hugely important. And when we learned about it, we were not very enthused about using biogas to burn it in engines. We believe that we need to change that paradigm, and now is the opportunity because we are in the middle of the energy transition. And we worked in collaboration with SAC-SUR and with the support of many of you, especially Chair Kennedy. And we changed that paradigm by opening the door for this new technology that it really is the future of industry. And I am very proud to share that we have permitted for the first time anywhere in the state, the first fuel cell system that is gonna operate at a water treatment facility to generate the necessary power they need to run it. We can do better than this, but to me, this is a very small step, but a really important step. And that's why I want to share this with you. This is the kind of action that eventually is going to allow us to transition to a clean economy, a clean future that is going to open the role for clean hydrogen to play a role. Next slide, please. So speaking of personnel and new staff, one of the things that we committed to do for you a year ago was to develop a systematic approach to assess our teleworking model of hybrid work. And working with our division leadership, we developed a performance management framework. This is a systematic way to look at performance metrics across the agency for all units in about 10 different categories. So this is, the priorities that we carry: air monitoring, permitting, enforcement, administration, incentives, all of those. We have developed a systematic approach to look at metrics. And what we're after is understanding not only are we achieving good morale and collaboration for our employees, cohesion, good communication, and mentorship. But we also have the level of management supervision and accountability that we are subject to as keepers of the public good. And we have finished this implementation, this program. We have shared the detail of the program in your packet. So I'm not going to go into the detail, but what I want to share with you is that we believe that the current hybrid model that includes a minimum of 1 day of work in the office is working very well for us. And we are making a decision to continue for one more fiscal year. This is a continually evaluated part of our agency. So next fiscal year, we'll give you another report. But we are very confident that the type of work that we do for the type of agency that we are, with the type of people that we have in the agency, that the minimum 1 day a week in the office is working just fine. This is not a board action. So, but obviously, if you see anything, if you disagree with anything, I certainly would like to hear that. But we're going to continue the minimum 1 day a week in the office, and we'll give you another report in about a year. Next slide, please.
Excuse me, Alberto. Director Cerna.
Thank you. So I understand that there's more detail in the report, but I wanted to ask Dr. Ayala, is there anything in your estimation that is distinctly unique about the mission and operations of the Air Quality Management District, separate from other local agencies, Sacramento County included, that lends itself to higher productivity or relatively higher productivity with a minimum 1 day in office work protocol for your employees?
Thank you for that question. We thought about that a lot, right? And clearly, in general, when you have a professional organization like us, particularly engineers and scientists, we understand that telework lends itself for that. We do have a number of our staff that actually, because of the job function, can't telework. You can't go and inspect a piece of equipment, an engine, on Zoom, right? You have to show up. Monitoring stations, they have to be maintained. You have to have personnel there. So we understand that there are some differences and unique circumstances, which probably translate like a county or like a state agency. But even accounting for that, when we have developed these metrics and made a systematic objective assessment as to whether not only are we maintaining continuity of operations, but we're actually exceeding our project productivity goals, we happen to be an agency that, minimum 1 day a week works. And I say minimum because what we are seeing is a lot more foot activity. A lot of us are coming in, maybe not for 8 hours a day, but for part of a day, and it's multiple days. So I think we're getting into, we're still in transition, but I think the transition is going to be you spend 1 day in the office so that you can have some interaction with your team, with management. And then the rest is going to be case by case. Some weeks we're in the office more, other weeks they're not. I mean, I'm a perfect example, right? I'm in Costa Rica coming to you live. I'm technically working. So I think we have looked at all those metrics. And for us, this is working. And again, if you can make the connection of if the county, if a state agency looks like us in terms of the function, we believe that what we have discovered here is entirely doable.
And then, thank you for that. In terms of this sticking as a permanent way for the district to function, to operate, what does that mean now in terms of identifying kind of the most efficient space needs in terms of very flexible space that can be used by multiple different employees, assuming they're not going to be there at the same time?
So good question. The first, I'll clarify, this is not permanent, right? We are going to continually assess, and as I mentioned, we will come back to you in about a year and let you know what this next fiscal year the experience was, because we understand, we live we're a part of a community and things are changing. So we'll continue to assess it, but unfortunately, the relocation process has stalled a bit simply because the offer that we thought was pending did not materialize, and now we have seen a significant cooling of the market. So we are going to take this into consideration in terms of if we're not going to be in the office every day, what kind of a space we need that is front and center for the firm that is assisting us. But we have time now. We don't have to worry about knowing these questions today because apparently, and we haven't had a discussion with the firm just yet, we're probably going to be sitting in our place for a little while just to see if the market conditions change, which is not a bad thing. Again, fiscally, we can sit tight for a couple of years if we need to. But clearly we understand, and again, the impetus for moving was precisely realizing that for our agency like us, the building we have right now is 3 times as big as what we actually needed.
No, I get that. Thank you. But I guess what I'm getting at is, first of all, who's to say whether or not this doesn't become permanent? I said assuming it becomes permanent. So if you're telling us today that not only is it working, want these 1 day minimums per week, but in some instances productivity is a little bit higher, I'm not sure why we look the other way and go back to the way it was necessarily. And then secondly, I can't help but get a little itchy thinking about this being an extended way for the district to operate. And if we're having this conversation 3-5 years from now, and we're still seeing less than 5 days a week at work as the standard for the agency, when you do the math in terms of, the lease payment per body located at the facility that you're leasing, that doesn't look very good. So I think we need to be very astute in terms of, and honest with ourselves about how we can efficiently continue to look for space that fits not just kind of the standard model, but this model possibly becoming something much more standard.
Completely agreed. And the last thing I'll say so we can move on is the reason we feel comfortable in the fiscal condition we're in is because, to remind you, we're almost done paying off our building. So even though technically we are leasing it, eventually we're very close, a couple of years where it'll be paid off. So again, that is going to be a significant savings in the event that we have to remain there. But I don't disagree with you. That's why we're taking it year by year, because we really don't know where eventually we're going to end up in a permanent arrangement. Thank you for all that. Next slide, please. Thank you, Chair Kennedy, Director Vang, Director Maple, and obviously Director Guerra, even though he's not here. Today, our agency, our directors, and a number of supporters in the community are going to have a decision made by the Air Resources Board that is very relevant to South Sacramento, Florida. AB 617 is at an inflection point. We need to get the community transitioned to what is called a community emission reduction plan. And as the name implies, if ARB approves the recommendation, which we fully expect, we will have 2 years to work with the community and put together a plan that actually transitions from just monitoring air pollution in the community to actually identifying actions, strategies that can lead to localized emission reductions. And obviously for that, we need to work with the county, we need to work with the city, we need to work with the community, with industry, with business, with the entire region to make that happen. We are the last community of 19 to do this. So this is also a milestone for the project, because now we can formally say that AB 617 has evolved to the last step of the program. So we're very excited. And again, just want to mention that to you. The ARB board meeting is at 4 p.m. today. Looking forward to it. Next slide, please. I think you're all aware that the California Economic Summit is coming to Sacramento. Please save the date. We were invited by Valley Vision, who is a convener of the organizing committee, to be part of this regional host committee. And I wanted to share this with you because the more I learn about this opportunity, it's a fantastic opportunity to showcase the region, because by hosting, that's what we get to do. We get to decide if we want to roll out the red carpet, which we say yes. And then if we do, what are the things that we want to showcase in the region at this economic summit? So we're very excited. And I just wanted to share that with you, that we are part of one of, there's about 20 organizations, agencies like us, and you can probably guess who they are. We're coming together to get organized to see what we want to do to showcase the community. So certainly stay tuned and very much welcome your input. Next slide. I think this is my last report. Yeah, the last thing I want to say, obviously something that we are very happy for, and because SAC-RT getting a very nice award. The reason this is important to us, again, is because when SAC-RT was contemplating developing their plan to comply with the state rule that says they need to be running only electric vehicles, they weren't even thinking about fuel cell electric vehicles as a solution. And I like to think that because of our engagement and commitment, now we're going to go there, and they're going to be able to get 29 fuel cell buses. So again, this is one of those opportunities where we are cracking the door open to begin the transition in many different sectors in our region. And we're very happy, and I know I'm speaking for our friends at SACOG, we are going to complement the federal award with some local monies, not only to help with the buses, but obviously they're going to need to think about production. Where's the gas going to come, and how we're going to refuel it. So stay tuned, because there's going to be more to come. And this is precisely the kind of initiative that we're going to keep an eye on in the next year and beyond. This concludes my report. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you, Dr. Ayala. Is there any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Hearing and seeing none. Thank you again, Dr. Ayala. Safe travels. The next item we're going to do, I'm going to move up board ideas, comments, and AB 1234 reports. If there's any, please chime in right now. Hearing and seeing none, then we will recess into closed session, and after closed session, board members can feel free to leave and not come back, and we'll just adjourn.
So Alberto and Director Robo, I'm going to send you guys to a breakout room.
Okay.